Okay, perfect. Live on Facebook, live on Instagram. What? Something's wrong with my pillow here. Hold on. I need to, I like to sit on the pillow. Okay, perfect. Okay, so today's topic. All right. Okay. All right. So today's topic, I'm starting a new series today. Yay. All right. So every day this week, I am going to be tackling a fear that is holding you back from getting the relationship you actually want. And today's topic in this series is I don't want to die alone, let alone show up at the next family barbecue alone. Right. So you have this fear of being single, fear of dying alone. And I want to just fix this right here so I can actually put the topic up here. Okay. Bear with me real quick. Just throwing this up here. Okay. So today's topic, there we go. And let me put it on Instagram as well. Okay. All right. On Facebook, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I turned my mic on, right? Just type I can hear you in the chat. Yeah, it's on. So you should be able to hear me. And Instagram, you can always hear me because my mic is not set up to there. So you can definitely hear me. So today's topic, okay. All right. All right, here we go. All right. New series starts today. So for the next 5 days, I'm going to be covering fears that are holding you back and getting in the relationship that you actually want, right? The relationship you actually want is a healthy relationship, one that's fruitful, flourishing, and fulfilling with the man. And so today's one fear, I don't want to die alone, let alone show up at the next family barbecue without a man on your hand, right? So every time I hear this, I don't want to die alone comment, I think to myself, like, what does that even mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't want to die alone. And I'm pausing because I want you to actually think about that. What does that mean when you say that? Okay. Doesn't everybody die alone? Listen, my parents have been married for over 44 years. They've been together for like 50 years, and they're going to die separate. This is not The Notebook. So kids or a husband are not the guarantee that you're going to be taken care of while you're on your deathbed, while you're sick or whatever. So my question to you, if you say that, if you have this fear, I don't want to die alone, why are you only scared of dying alone because you're single? And so when you say that, I don't want to die alone, what I hear you saying is you don't want to get to the end of your life without having had a husband. Because somehow you believe that having a husband gets you to the mountaintop of happiness and joy, which it's not true. It's simply just not true. That is not God's promise over our life. Well, once you get the husband, then you will finally have arrived at the happiness and joy that I promised you. It's not a promise. And so what happened as you were growing up is you bought into the programming and conditioning that we as women received about our worth, that we can only be happy, that we are only worthy once we get picked by our Boaz. So now we have this fear that it's not factual. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Well, I don't want to die alone. Okay, but everybody does. So now, because you have this fear on a subconscious level, meaning whether you know it or not, you're operating from that fear And now you're forcing relationships with men you know don't deserve you because you don't want to die alone. So you having a husband and a boyfriend, whatever, I guess you have a boyfriend first, then a husband, makes you feel better. It pacifies that fear of, I don't want to die alone. But how well is that working out for you? Because when you operate in a space where you will stay with somebody that is not being fruitful, flourishing, or fulfilling to you, you stay in this relationship that is not fruitful, flourishing, or fulfilling to you because you don't want to die alone. How well is that working out for you? What is it costing you to be with somebody just so they can pacify that fear of you dying alone or showing up at the next family barbecue alone? He's a placeholder, pacifying this fear of being single. And I'm going to read something to you. And this is Dr. Gay and Kathleen Hendricks, some of my favorite psychologists. And in this book, okay, they say, how many courses did you take in dealing with your feelings? It is incredible that we have such a societal blind spot. No one ever landed in jail or a mental hospital because of a difficulty with geography. But both institutions are packed with people who have difficulty with their emotions. You see, it's not your fault, but when you know better, you'll do better. So you're struggling in this lane of relationships and your feelings and emotions because nobody taught you anything. Nobody taught you any better than what you're doing, trying to get this goal in life, which they put on us, especially as faith-based Black woman, that listen, the goal in life, you better get married and have some babies. And if you don't do that by 25, you're trash. So then once you pass that threshold and you wake up at 35 and you're still single, now it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And now you're spiraling out of control. And you're in these relationships, again, that are not fruitful, flourishing, or fulfilling. So I saw somebody post this on IG and I thought that I wrote down their name, but I'm going to read to you what they wrote. And I was like, exactly. And this is, I wish more people thought this way. Here's the quote. I want a co-committed relationship, not codependency based on trauma bonds. I don't want a relationship with someone who chooses me purely based on their feelings instead of logic and practicality. I want an easy life and will not endure hardship or inconvenience just because I love you. I want love without a trauma bond or an unhealthy attachment. I want love knowing joy comes from God and myself, not from a man. That's the way I want to love. Instead of doing the opposite, which is this fear-based love. Well, I don't want to die alone, or I'm sick of going to the family barbecue and my older auntie's always asking me where my man at. So I'm going to have this placeholder, which now is wasting your time. And you're frustrated. You're sad, depressed, because you're with this placeholder, just pacifying that fear. I don't want to die alone. So having Johnny here is better than that. So I'm going to give you a reason. So you believe you can't do life as a single woman because you feel like you need a man for support. You feel like a man can complete you, help you financially, sexually, and mentally. And you're like, that is the only way that can be completed. That circle can close once I get married with support, finances, mentally, sexually. It's the only way I can be fulfilled in those areas with the man. It's not true. Where? Where is that written? Show me the scripture. When did God say that? That you will only be fulfilled mentally and financially. You can only be supported the way you want to be supported. You can only do that when you have a man. Show me where that is. You're not going to be able to show it to me scripturally, but your belief system, you believe that two is better than one. Somewhere along the line, you bought into that narrative, that programming, that conditioning, that two is better than one. But here's the thing, it has to be the right one. If you want to believe that true is better than one, two is better than one, fine. But it has to be the right one. It can't just be anybody. You can't just go pluck a dude off the street because he's fine and then make it work with him. Mm-mm. So you're going to have to start shifting your belief in that area. And here's the deal. I would argue that you are doing well financially. You are doing well for yourself. You are doing well in supporting yourself. Why do you minimize that? Because you don't have a man. Well, I can't be doing that great in life because I don't have a man. This woe is me attitude because I'm single. It is weighing you down, sis. It is weighing you down. And I was reading this article from this psychologist who did a study on, does marriage actually make you happier? She wanted to like scientifically prove it one way or another. And here's the deal. The article is basically saying it lands in the middle. Marriage might make people happier, but it's no guarantee of happiness. And she also goes on to say that most happy people get married. And then and she goes on to say they get married to a partner, like a best friend. So that man that you're dealing with now, are you happy with him? Are you guys best friends? Or are you constantly hoping that he will become that? Trusting he will change, trying to set a boundary but not keeping it, accepting the bare minimum. Like your standards are actually up here, but you're accepting something down here. Again, because of this fear of dying alone and this thought that singleness is a punishment, or this thought that I am not worthy because I don't have a man. I am a failure because I don't have a man. And guess what? The way you think as a man feels in his heart, so he is, right? As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. So if you're thinking that, now check your behavior. Think about how your behaviors with men, like what are your behaviors with men? And what does that say about you? The choices that you've made with men, what is that showing you about you? So how do you become different? How do you start thinking different? You have to decide, make a decision that I want to be confident in my singleness. And you're going to have to start changing your thought process. You're going to have to start putting yourself first and learn how to slow down a dating process. And let me just say this too about dying alone. Like, listen, when we get to the end of to the end of our life, is that what I said? Yep. When we get to the end of our life, right? It's probably going to take a lot of money to take care of us. That's what our fear is coming from. Like, I don't want to I need somebody to like take care of me when I'm older or whatever. So you have this fear of being somebody who needs to be taken care of. And again, I said earlier, kids and a husband does not guarantee that at all. Okay. Ask all of these people that are in nursing homes where their kids don't visit them, or they had a husband and he left because you got sick. So that doesn't guarantee that. Okay. So the best way you can help yourself is actually start focusing in investments, 401ks, Roth IRAs, and getting your financial situation together and stop worrying about where your husband at. It's a lot of us running around here, faith-based women, especially our faith-based Black women. I'm a Proverbs 31 woman, but your financial situation isn't together. So you want a man to come in to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. Not even when you get a husband. Y'all gonna have to figure that out together. But he's not coming to, you shouldn't want somebody to come and save you. So you're gonna have to start focusing on your thought process, how you think about things, and shift that. And this isn't a financial platform, but I'm just trying to tell you, if it's the I need somebody to take care of me while I'm older, so that's why I want a husband. mm, no, no. I would also You need to think about, why do you want a husband outside of because you think that's what people do? What is going to be the purpose of your marriage? The purpose of you getting a husband? Are you wife material? Are you getting yourself together? And I would argue, if you're thinking like this, like I'm saying on this podcast, that singleness is a punishment and woe is me and I just don't want to die alone, then no, you're not actually wife material right now. You need to work on your mindset, because the mindset you have now is what you're going to bring into the marriage. And your vision if is off. If your mindset is dysfunctional, your vision is off. That's all I'm saying. I really wish that you would stop looking at singleness as a punishment. I really wish that you would stop looking at your singleness as a failure. I promise you, I'd rather be single than be in those dysfunctional relationships that I was in, being bamboozled, disrespected, lied to, cheated on over and over again, all because I thought, well, I have to get this goal. Nope. I'd rather be single. And that's not to say that I don't desire a husband, but I desire the husband that God wants for me, the right husband, not to have a husband just to have a husband because I don't want to die alone. I'm cool. So I'll end on this, because I have to go take my dogs to the groomers because they need baths. So last week, when I completed the series, after every episode, I gave you two questions, and I'm going to continue that this week because it's helping you think. So, question number one: what is your definition of dying alone? What is your definition of dying alone? Why do you say that? I don't want to die alone. And why does that scare you? That's kind of like two questions. So I'll say number three: why do you feel like you will die alone? Is it because you're 40 and you're not married yet? And so now you're thinking about the future way too much? So why do you feel like you will die alone? Okay, that's a wrap. That is a wrap. I'm excited about this series. So, fears that are holding you back from getting that relationship you actually want. Today was fear number one. Fear number two, we will do tomorrow. Okay. DM me. Can you do me a favor? If you took something from this video, anything that I said, and that resonated with you, can you please send me a DM? I would love to hear from you. Or if you heard something I said and you're like, I want you to go deeper on this. What do you mean by this? Send me a DM. My DM is always open to you. It's not going to be weird. I'm not going to be like, why are you DMing me? This is a dumb person. No, I want you to. For my professional, loyal, now frustrated single women, I got you. I hear you and I see you in your frustration, and I'm just trying to help. But you got to work on that thought process. Okay. All right. We'll talk tomorrow. Bye.